Welcome back, everybody, to some more action here. We've got a great R6 matchup for you guys today. Phantom Legion versus Synthetic. It's going to be a bit of a banger here coming right up. My name's Infernosis, as you can see below, joined here by the wonderful fellow. How you doing tonight?
I'm glad to cast with you and also commentate over Synthetic versus Phantom Legion. Now, the scoring between these two teams, as we all know, has been quite drastic, a lot very different. Synthetic, they've been looking like a powerhouse in that Rogue Conference division. 4-1 was their scoreline. They've only lost to Slaughterhouse Bravo, which they have a possible chance of rematching up against on June 1st when next best of three in fact occurs between either them or Lay Mickey. But Phantom Legion, they haven't really been looking all that good. 2-3, a big difference. So we can definitely get that underdog status in the hands of Phantom Legion. But of course, these have been best of ones throughout most of this season up until now, of course, where they will now be best of threes and still infinite overtime as well, Scott. So we could really be in it for the long haul as well. This could be a very long but interesting matchup.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear what your take is and what your prediction is going to be. We'll jump in real fast, take a look at the roster. You can see right here, Synthetic, Poison, Frink, Spiff, Tones, and Mo. They're coming through. Phantoms bringing Buzz, Giorno, Dalitech, and Relahado, I believe is the way it's pronounced. I mean, an interesting name. Mohesi is Mo over on the Synthetic side, and call him Mo Mohesi. That's what we'll be calling out the entire time. I'll probably use Mohesi because it's a little bit more known in terms of people who know Synthetic, but strong rosters across both teams. Synthetic's been playing a little bit better after they've been kind of subbing in and out some players, figuring out what they're more comfortable with. They're looking pretty hot. Obviously, you just stated Phantom Legion's looking a little bit dire in some of their plays. They haven't been doing exceptionally well for themselves, a little bit lackluster in performance, but yet they're still here, yet they're still fighting. We'll see how they fare off against this Synthetic side, which is doing so well for them. But we'll jump into the map bans next. We're able to talk about those. I'll let you take that one away. I'm interested in what we're doing here in this best of three.
Yeah, because you can't just ban a boatload of maps and then only go to a really strong map like Club, perhaps. But we are, in fact, still going at Coastline, Clubhouse, and Oregon will be our matchups for this evening. Thank God we're not going to have to bear through Cafe. Still got to go through Oregon, but I suppose that's all right. And not shocked at all that Villa, in fact, got banned. I know that for Synthetic, they didn't do such a good job on that map, but surprisingly, Phantom Legion was actually the team that banned them. But still, it didn't shock me overall all that much. Feels a little bit of a intriguing map. Some teams just don't really do good on that map at all. So it does only make sense after all these maps pretty straightforward, except Coastline. That one is a little bit of red herring, a little bit of black sheep, I suppose. Not many teams even like to go to that map just because it kind of strays away from the common aspects of Rainbow Six. It's not that defender-sided as most maps like Cafe, like Oregon, like Clubhouse.
Absolutely, and I think one of the big things to talk about when it comes to Coastline is the fact that it's very TDM-centric. You'll see that as a big go-to stylization of that map, very attacker-sided in terms of rushing and aggression. So we'll have to see how the teams will necessarily fare out. Really excited to see how the Gunners on the Synthetic side can fare off against the Gunners we've seen from Phantom Legion. Despite them not being able to show the greatest performance so far, they're still here. They want to make a difference. They want to make their presence known, and this is definitely the place to do it. It's do or die at this stage in time, and like you had said, the winner of this gets to face the winner of Lay Mickey and Slaughterhouse Bravo, which I remember correctly, as we'd seen on that intermission screen, is the first, or I remember probably something along those lines. It's coming up soon, next Tuesday. So yes, indeed, it's going to be a big game. It's going to be a really important one, so make sure to stay tuned for that one. That'll decide who faces off against the winner in this one, but let's get back into this one. I'm going to make my prediction right here. I'm going to say Synthetic take it, but I think we're going to see a map 3 because I don't think Phantom Legion's going to go out without a fight.
Absolutely. They're still an amazing team, even though they were the 4th seat in, I believe, the Raven Conference, not the Rogue Conference. So they were close to just getting chopped out and not making it to playoffs, but they managed, and still 2 wins. Pretty nice. It's not just completely horrendous. It wasn't just a complete blowout against them. So, like you mentioned, I think they still have a lot of fight in them. Now, going up against Synthetic might be a little more difficult than anticipated, but still doable, absolutely. And maybe Coastline can be that map that really just sweeps Synthetic off their own feet and just force them to fall on the ground. They're going to be screaming and crying because it hurts so bad. They get all bruised up, and Phantom Legion just take that advantage and go right into map number 2. Maybe they will 2-0. It is possible.
Yeah,
I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah. I mean, anything's possible in the game of R6, especially with the way the game's been changing or has already been announced to be changing.
You and I are talking about it, man. It looks so promising.
We can kind of converse about what's going to be changing with that. Obviously, droning after death is a big one that's really hit or miss in the community. whether or not it's liked or not, that's a huge one. What's your take on that?
So I think it can be justified if only the operator who has that specific gadget can use it, but I feel most people, especially in the rank pool or someone who's like higher up and competitive, they can kind of understand that you dying should be a punishment. So you shouldn't get rewarded by being on any type of drone like that, being still super influential, not just normally. Like if you're dead as a defender, you check normal default camps. Now you can operate Evil Eyes, for example, probably Yokais as well. I'm not 110% sure, but it only makes sense if you can use that Evil Eye by Maestro. Why not the Yokai as well? It's kind of the same kind of instance, I suppose. But I think it's just way too strong put into the right hands, but it has some potential. I think they might need to kind of simmer it down just a little bit, not get too enthusiastic with it, but it could be a nice change because I agree with what a lot of the developers are saying. It can get kind of boring when you're not just in that action phase, action, action, action all the time. But they need to make sure it's a good rework because it could come out really busted.
Think the game of R6 is so unilaterally different from every other game or esport technically out there in the scene. CS:GO and Valorant. We've casted Valorant before. We love to do that. It's much faster. I cast Overwatch. That's wave-based pace, completely different in style. I mean, you've got
Very
even
compact.
MOBAs are at least constant action in regard. There's no prep phase, no setup. It's really just laning phases and going on to it. And while we, here at Unified, we have the opportunity to have League of Legends. Stay tuned for all that and whatnot. But Rainbow Six is so different in terms of esport potential and gameplay wise that it's just an outlier. And it's strange to see how large it's grown. It's great to see how large it's grown because we all love R6 here, but it's interesting how slow of a game it can be and how slow it really is, and just how much downtime there is for individual players. So that's why there's a bit of Ubisoft wanting to step into new ground, I think, where they can have that potential to grow out as a player base and even further than they have. Because I mean, I played in year one. This game, by all forgiveness here, kind of stunk in year one. I mean, they did not do a great job on release. It didn't have its maximum potential, and now the game is glorious. By all accounts, it's so much fun, and they're just trying to add in more and more. But we'll talk a little bit more as the game progresses onward for that. But we're going to head to a short break. A little bit of a player difficulty for the lobby. We'll get that to you guys, but we don't want to keep blabbering in here. We'll send it to a break, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you didn't miss us after that minor inconvenience there, but we should almost have the game between Synthetic and Phantom Legion started right up. And if you needed a little refresher during that downtime, Coastline, I believe, is the first map for the evening, if I am unless completely wrong about that. But I believe I am. I am correct. Okay. I really thought I second guessed myself there, but for once I didn't. Wow. That's shocking. But like I just said, getting into the map of Coastline, one of my personal favorites is because it's a little different than most, like that assertiveness that you mentioned earlier, Scott. And the bans will definitely represent that quite well. On top of that, not what you typically see. Thatcher might not even be banned at all, which is always shocking to hear, but he's not as influential on this map than, for example, Clubhouse.
You're absolutely right. When you talk about Thatcher, you're typically looking at hard wall breaches and getting into those. But in all honesty, it's not necessary here. You're not going to breach very many hard walls, if any at all, when it comes to this map, so there's just no need for them. And in fact, you're more worried about that roam clear and roamers themselves. So obviously, we're seeing Nomad being banned out, so you're looking at that, and Synthetic don't want to have to worry about roaming on the defense, and Phantom Legion don't want to worry about not being able to roam on the defense. So Jackal being banned out makes it a little bit more difficult for Synthetic, or I guess I should say for Phantom Legion starting off, whichever side's on the attack initially. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for the attackers to catch off these defenders roaming around so exceptionally well and denying a lot of point of entries. But with Mira banned out, it leaves the one last one. It's going to make some hard walls, especially connections towards double bar objective, and also the walls connecting in towards that office side of that kitchen objective. But Valkyrie being banned, information out for the count. This is none too shocking. Very standardized bans here from Coastline. The only one that you could even classify as kind of shocking would be Nomad, and even then, it still fits perfectly.
Now, obviously, you can still pick other operators to kind of fill for these new bans that just occurred. Zero is a great example when it comes to that Nomad flank denial. A Gridlock as well, which I know you're a huge fan of, Scott, but same thing goes for Valkyrie as well. Valkyrie, you can bring out a Mozzie, perhaps, a Maestro like we're witnessing by Tones, or even a Pulse at that as well. He's especially strong on hookah and billiards, for example. So it isn't the end of the world that she's banned, but she's probably one of the easiest kind of intel operators to use in the game. You kind of just throw your cameras out there, forget about them if you want to, and then your whole team can utilize them quite well. But it's not really the same with Maestro, for example. Yes, you can still ping, but you can't use that laser gauntlet inside of the camera itself, so it's a little bit annoying. But instead of that Maestro pick, we will in fact see Tones now opt to go for the Mozzie. It's a little bit more of a roam game, perhaps, instead of that anchor kind of setup, which is still completely fine. He can gather just as much intel as he ever so pleases to, especially on this top floor objective room, where you can roam underneath quite effectively and even deny the plant if you still have that nitro cell in that execute situation.
A bit of a difficulty can be had when you're trying to push in from the southern side. It becomes a problem of a player sitting behind that hookah hard wall connecting over towards billiards, and a player can sit behind, get some long crossfire angles. Typically, you'll see a Maestro come through. I know you and I love Maestro no matter what, but
amazing.
Maestro is very exceptional when it comes to all three of the go-to objectives here on this map. It just becomes a priority of roaming a little bit more exceptionally. So Synthetic, they've got Tones who can do that. They've got Freak who can obviously do that. We know that personally that they're extremely strong when it comes to that. And of course, when you bring a player like a Jaeger, like Spiff, into the account as well, Jaeger can take some offside presence. We see that over towards that check-in side. They had a little bit of a presence moving towards the east on that first floor, stepping back through security, and now just rotating back and forth, looking for maybe a possibility to catch a player off guard, but nothing happening just yet. 30 seconds burned. Probably looking for about a minute and a half burn for Synthetic before any kills are dropped for either side. That'll be what spells disaster if you lose a player too early in a map like this.
Really important to get that map control earlier on. Also clear out those roamers so the drone gang come out by tack and towards the lower area of offices. So that could occur. Phantom Legion, if they go underneath and clear out those roamers, then they're not going to have to worry about the C4s underneath and just have to pick their gunfights head on. You can see Tack trying to find that deadly angle underneath and towards offices, but the rotation has already come out. There's only now Toned underneath. He spots out one or tries to with that C4 and doesn't get anything inside of VIP. Still going to be that 5-on-5, a little bit of utility wasted in the process, and there's still plenty of time for this push to come on out. Phantom Legion taking the necessary time that they need, and they're still quite quick about it, to be honest. They're doing a great job so far, as the first half of the round has now come to an end, and they're just getting ready to begin that execute. I think this could be a really effective push coming out by them.
Obviously, when you're using a Gemini replicator to find out information, it sets up a lot of success. You see them ping out that Banshee, stopping the wall from a Wubba Dub dubbing on top of them, and allow them a little bit of a safety net. You see a player stepping forward, using that lifeline to, impact it out and be able to step forward. But pushes from Aquarium, pretty standard, but that player sitting behind that hookah wall, that reinforced wall connecting to Billiards, that's Mohesi here. It's going to be very difficult for them because they can just lay down and sit behind that hard wall and make it nigh impossible for anyone to step forward, but they've got some assistance from down below. You can see an Ash breaching charge dropping. One player kind of trapped as of the moment, but Mohesi finds one in Giorno. A plant does go down, but they find an immediate refrag onto the back of it. Buzz finds Freak in the opposing direction, and as they now attempt to step towards the Aquarium side, no connection. Mohesi finds the 3K as Spiff finds Buzz, and now it's just Tack from below, trying to use these breaching rounds to contest, but at this point in time, almost no chance. They've just got to walk around and shoot him through the floorboards. 20 seconds left. Tack will not make it matter. Mohesi finds the 4th, and this round's going to Synthetic.
That push coming out by Phantom Legion looked really promising, and then Mo just kind of popped around the corner and just found a quad kill just like that. It didn't matter. The plant ended up coming down. When you have that big of a number advantage when it comes to the man count, it's just almost impossible to get that retake done properly. So amazing recovery by Synthetic, mostly off the back of Mo, but he had plenty of help along the way, so not just all to him and him alone. But great first defending round win, like I said, by Synthetic. They'll now try to go down in towards Kitchen and Service, and a slightly different lineup, but it definitely helps when it does come down to this bomb site instead. The Aruni, great way to try to burn out in the last couple of seconds. It comes down to a lot of really rushed executes, especially on Kitchen Service, because you have to clear out up above most of the time, trying to get that vertical play, hence why Buck is on the board in the hands of Buzz now. So it's just going to be a little bit more of a process than what we saw. It came down to a really quick clear coming in through by Phantom Legion, which almost worked out for them if it weren't for the fact that Mo is just simply built different. But maybe they'll have a little bit more luck on this round, but I'm not too sure because now he's got the Alda in hand. That gun is, oh man, that gun is still so deadly.
Obviously, we talked about it just prior in the round. Maestro, such a strong presence on this map, and any map really and truly, maybe a little bit less in the upcoming future because of the massive nerfs coming to the Evil Eyes, but still the Alda is a force to be reckoned with like you just talked about. Going to be very difficult for Phantom Legion, who have already failed once to attack in the floor prior, now have to attack this one, and they're going to have to face off against that Alda. I think a high chance for them is going to be able to step out onto that hookah balcony, step inside of hookah, drop down, cool 5 steps, and maybe try to force their way through kitchen door. I've seen that strategy work a couple times, but a massive difficulty does arise because that hookah balcony is not a smart place to typically push. You can use it as a way to catch a single individual player off guard, but beyond that, it doesn't have much viability, much utility beyond it. But I'll tell you who does. Tack is lying down using this drone hole connecting towards this first floor Bab, sees the Banshee in the opposing side, maybe even a position to use a breaching round if they also wanted to and actually remove it out, but first kill will drop to the Aldo. Mohesi finds Buzz. That's going to be yet another kill to the name. 5 to them, 5-0. And that Gemini drone may have been cleared out in Penthouse, but John, this round already boding well for Synthetic.
I mean, Buck already dead, not able to do a single bit of self-destruction whatsoever. That is such a huge deficit now for Phantom Legion. They're starting to get that top floor control. They still have to worry about Freak up above, and now Poison as well. He picks up one with that Mossberg shotgun in the middle of the bomb site. So already a fantastic job by Synthetic just winning those initial gunfights, and now this attacking push coming up by Phantom Legion is just so much weaker now in this position. They have plenty of time to recover, of course, but it still might be incredibly difficult. They haven't even cleared out the upstairs area still just yet. I think Freak is still lurking around just trying to waste that time. Deadly shotgun holes up above by Poison as well. This just all looks horrible for them, but luckily Rella is able to find the headshot on a Freak, so that can slowly begin to start trudging things in the favor of Phantom Legion, but they still have a long ways to go, especially now when Mo's up above, roaming on the Maestro. He's feeling himself right now as he picks up one in towards Penthouse, but he still has company up above.
Difficult position to be in. Mohesi finds their second in this round, making it a 6-0 rout. Giorno's gonna have to say night-night, and it's just up to Tack, as that last player was down to Rowdy, and it's gonna be Mohesi to clean up for yet another 3K in this round, and it's just one remaining. Could be a back-to-back 4K situation, but Mohesi's on the wrong side of the map. They do have Diffuser, but at this point in time, it looks to be that Tack is just trying to play for 1 or 2 quit picks, but can't find any. Tone is there instead, and Synthetic will clutch up and win round 2 in another spectacular fashion.
Mo putting in all the work right now. Round number 1, the 4K on the Mew, and then round number 2, he picks the Buck, or pardon, he picks Buck early off, my mistake, but on the Maestro, roaming as well. I mean, he was all over the place, man, and he's still fragged out nonstop. Great work by him in particular. He's been a huge factor of these first 2 rounds, and I only hope it gets better on from there, but Synthetic winning their first 2 defending rounds off the bat like that, pretty impressive, and they're going to try to keep that hot streak going, now going to blue and pink bar, which could be a little bit more difficult due to the bans that are currently in our hands right now for this matchup. There's no Mira, like you mentioned, which really makes defending this bomb site so much easier. You can deny that office push for the blue bar plant pretty easily when there's a Mira between that rotation hole area, so it's going to be a little more challenging, of course, but they still have plenty of utility to try and deny or at least slow down this execute that's been coming out by Phantom Legion.
Difficult position, I think, in regards to Phantom Legion. They're obviously down 2, John, and that does not bode well in terms of mentality. And when you're talking about this double bar objective, it's very difficult for both sides to kind of contend against it. It requires a large amount of pressure towards this eastern side, and at the same time, some teams will completely ignore it. They'll maybe put 1 or 2 towards entrance, towards check-in, and then fluctuate the rest of their 3 players over towards that towel side, trying to make sure they come in from pool, maybe try and step in from the green side. It's very difficult to decide how you truly want to push this. There's so many different viable options, but it's just such a massive difficulty because Synthetic, they can put 2 players with some longer distance weapons, like Freak, who's now on this Wamai, who can play that MP5K, over towards the eastern side of check-in, which I have no doubt they will be doing just that at some point in time. And then you've got a long shot angle. You can shoot those footholds inside of Blue Bar and completely deny any chance for Phantom Legion to get a substantial plant down. There's only one safe spot to plant, and then you just put 1 player above, and then they deny that specific angle, and Phantom Legion is forced to walk into your arms, and I think that's exactly what Synthetic are hoping for. They're a great team. They've done a great job denying so far. They've had Mohesi find absolutely everything, and I don't think Mohesi's going to stop at any point in time. They're out for blood, and Synthetic is looking hot in the process.
He's found a lot of blood, but still definitely hungry. It is only round 3 after all. Even trying to wallbang off the bat in towards the top of blue, towards Aqua, I should say, underneath and from office. Won't find anything just yet, but definitely startled Tack most certainly as he tries to work his way across the waves and towards possibly Hookah, and then already inside of Billards as well. But the problem with these 2 bomb sites, they're really hard to just get that common execute down and the plant, especially defended the right way. And Synthetic already have just done everything perfectly on the defensive hold. It doesn't really matter who they put on what role, they'll still just win it out regardless. And I mean, Phantom Legion, at least they have a great start so far, but Freak is going to find that entry and a second as well. Oh my god, Freak. He gets pushed out from the deployable shield, but still picks up 2, looking for a third. He almost gets it, but Giorno will live to tell the tale. He'll try to counter peek it, but just cannot land those shots. A 5-on-3 already favoring Synthetic right now. They are just completely on fire in this position, and we're basically in the exact same scenario that we were last round, Scott, except there's even less time now favoring Phantom Legion. Sure, they can try to go for that top floor vertical play, but they are incredibly low on time and the man count, but regardless, they'll still attempt it, just trying to find something to find maybe a refrag perhaps, and then maybe a last-ditch attempt to funnel in towards that bomb site, anything at this instance, because Phantom Legion, they got to pick up a frag somehow, some way, but that's not how you do it. Toned underneath, picks up 1 with the C4, make it a second now. SMG-11 in hand, shuts down Relajado. It's all now up to Tack with half a minute left, and he won't find 1 in compensation. Freak through the flooring, picks up a 3rd for himself. A flawless round for Synthetic. I mean, they're just getting better and better by every single round at this point, Scott.
Better and better, and I don't think there's very much better you can do. I mean, obviously, coming out with a flawless round, you can't do better than that except for playing better than you did the round prior. And I don't think Phantom Legion has what it takes to face off against a better Synthetic. If Synthetic can just maintain what they brought to the round prior, then Phantom Legion are going to be at their wits' end and forget what's going wrong. This could very well be a 6-0 half at this rate, and that's a shocking thing because, John, we introed into this game saying, hey, Coastline's up first. This is typically an attacker side of the map because of the TDM-styled aggression that you do see, but we're not seeing any of that from Phantom Legion. They're taking a 3-0 butt kiss here from the very start, and entering into round 4, heading back to that hookah and billiard sides. Yes, we did see a plant go down, but no, we saw no chance of Phantom Legion being able to capitalize off of it. All of their attempts to step away were completely denied by Mo with that SMG-11 hiding behind that billiards and hookah hard wall, and there was just no chance for Phantom to act off of it. So if Phantom want one thing to do, one change, one difference maker, it's going to be to get a nade off with success behind that hookah wall and to actually find Mo out from the backside, because if they can't do that, if they can't find an impactful kill early on with it to deny out that billiards hard wall player, then they're going to be just fish out of water, gasping for air, gasping for any changes, because this does not look well for them.
That's been the big problem that Phantom Legion has been trying to solve, except for that last round. Mo didn't do a whole lot on round number 3, but round number 1, my god, on this bomb site, that 4K, it really guaranteed Synthetic that round win and recovery in the past instance. It's just, the roam wasn't an issue by Phantom Legion, it was just that execute, so if anything, have that strong just push coming in for the roam clear, and then just maybe try to go for some vertical play. You have Buzz in the middle, he could try to do something underneath, but Freak underneath actually picks up one, and Tones gets another as well. My god, what is going on, Phantom Legion? Every single round they just get weaker and weaker, or simply possibly Synthetic is just getting stronger and stronger. Already a 5-on-1 all up to Relajado. I mean, I didn't even finish my talking point yet, Scott. Synthetic just, they want to win round number 1, make it a second flawless round win back to back. Synthetic take round number 4. I mean, what just happened?
John, I said it's nigh impossible to get a better round than a flawless round, and instead, Synthetic goes, okay, well, we'll show you again. We can play better than we did and still get the flawless round. And they did. They absolutely slaughtered. It was a feeding frenzy for them. They didn't let a single person enter into the building for more than 2 seconds. The second one stepped in the door, Mohesi was able to get the kill instantaneously, and then the rest were killed outside with not a single chance of survival. I mean, Phantom Legion, they are just floundering. They don't know what to do. They have no idea what's going on. In all honesty, Phantom's kind of a good name for them right now. They're hardly here. We can barely see them. They're see-through, a ghost in this match right now. And at this pace, they're going to be a ghost in this entire map. If they're not too careful, they're going to be a fragment of what we expect from them. And Synthetic are just drilling, just absolutely hammering that point home. 2 flawless rounds back-to-back, a 4-0 victory right now. Heading back into round 5, dropping down to this kitchen and service hold on this first floor. Man, I'm predicting so much again from Synthetic. We talked about the TDM style that attackers bring to the table. Defense can clap it right back, and that's exactly what we just saw, John. Spawn peaks, aggressive angles, runouts, just holding the cheekiest of angles of all angles, and just denying everyone in Phantom Legion. John, this is a bit of a show match right now for Synthetic.
I guess you could say that Phantom Legion just really looks like a fish out of water right now. No one has done really anything impactful. The most life we've seen from Phantom Legion is round number 1 when they got the plant down, but they lost everything to one man and one man alone, Mo, who is 8-0. He hasn't died a single time yet, almost dying there inside of front door, but he'll just back on up. He doesn't want to get too cocky, I suppose. I don't really blame him because he can be much more influential later on in this 5th round, unless we just see complete aggression coming out by Synthetic once more, really trying to one-up themselves every single round following up now, but they really just seem unstoppable at this point. Phantom Legion haven't done that good of a job with these executes, and even Tone still finding an entry. Dolly having a really tough time around these couches. Oh my god, Tones picks up 2, and Poison shuts down Giorno. It finally happens though. Tax secures the kill onto Poo. I mean, or Spiff, I should say. Spiffy Poo, the entire name outward, but 4-2 right now for Phantom Legion. They already look like they're about to collapse on this 5th round.
I was going to say before that exact moment right there, we had 4 players on Synthetic who had been unkilled, not having a death so far. Spiff dying makes it so there's only 3, but it's going to stay that way. Freak from a hatch that was being utilized the opposing direction. That is monstrous. I mean, doesn't need to see much, just sprays straight through, finds the kill, and Synthetic once again coming out on top. It's now a 5-0 route, about to be a 6-0 if Synthetic can just replicate the same level of success. How do you lose that fight between, like you called it, couches? That's not really its call it, but we'll call it that nonetheless.
Yeah.
How do you lose that fight there? I mean, Tones had to pull out the gats to finish the job, and then you pulled out yours as well. You could have just reloaded. I mean, Tones wasn't going to do it. Tones was one-upping you. Tones was having a show match. It was just like, all right, this is my time. We thought Moesi was going to be the player popping off after round 1, but it's every single player in Synthetic that's doing it instead.
Word of advice, Scott. It's always faster to bring out your secondary than to reload your primary, but I really am concerned about Dahlia not winning that gunfight. However, it happens. Sometimes you just have bad aim and you just lose those gunfights, but no one's been winning their gunfights on the side of Phantom Legion. That's a huge problem. You got to clear out these roamers, flush them out, whether it be through the intel, and then that makes Synthetic really uncomfortable, or you just outgun them. Neither one of those things has really happened so much, and that's a huge concern for Phantom Legion, and now they're 1 round away from bringing it to match point, not in their favor, and another one followed up just to lose the entire first map of Coastline. I mean, I don't want to say they have a high likelihood of getting 6-0 right now on the first half, but they haven't looked promising whatsoever
They have
on
a high
the first
likelihood
5 rounds.
6-0.
Yeah,
No, I'm gonna say
okay.
it for
Well,
you.
you're not
going
to beat her. All right, thank you, Scott. I don't know what I'd do without you. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't want to like step on your feet or anything, but from the pace that we're seeing right now, we've seen 2 flawless rounds. I'm gonna say it's likely we see Synthetic do it, which is a weird odd. It's a weird statistic to actually say it's likely for a team to 6-0 someone.
I don't blame you. I kind of had my feet right out in front of you. I was kind of asking for it at that point, but I didn't want to be a complete meanie. And especially when Spiffy just gets away with a run out like that on the buzz, he'll get traded out by Giorno, but already, man, he just does not care anymore. Tones apparently didn't care either. Dolly picks up, but he actually redeems himself from last round. He whips out the primary and in fact shuts him down, but this could be an easy recovery for Synthetic. It's only the first minute of the round coming to an end. There's still plenty of time for them to bring things back, and if they're able to deny that last second push, for example, that Phantom Legion has been trying to just bring out, it could still be a 6-0 by then, but at least now Phantom Legion is in the lead and has an advantage for the time being.
I mean, this does not really... I mean, for both sides, it doesn't bode well. Synthetic obviously being a man down for the first time in this match could technically be a bit of a downer, but take a look at the side. I was going to say Mohesi's still up, and now that's no longer a thing. Tak's going to finish them off. Freak does find 1 kill, but in all honesty, you're still having a man disadvantage, and Freak's going to have to put forth a lot of effort if they want to stay into this one. They do just that. They find Tak. They try to get more, but Dolly lines them up and drops them down. Phantom Legion, you may have been the right person there, apparently, to not call it out, but Phantom Legion managed to actually come back on this, and it's because they peaked at the exact same time, walked into each other, and unfortunately Synthetic will be lined up and dropped down like a house of cards, like bowling pins, whatever you want to call it. It's fine, whatever, phrase you want to say, but nobody beats Phantom 6 times in a row and gets away with it. They found their comeuppance. Synthetic, watch out. Watch out, Synthetic. I mean, they're coming for you. I mean, after that one, sheesh.
Thank you for prolonging the old tradition of you and I for at least saying sheesh once in our broadcast. Thank you. I really needed to hear that. That made me feel a lot better on the inside. And hopefully Phantom Legion feels much better now after winning their first round and only have to worry about a 4-round deficit now and not a 6 round. That would have been a really big bummer, especially because technically speaking, this is a much more attacker favored map. We haven't seen that yet. I think that's purely just because Synthetic is just on their A game right now, and Phantom Legion is just something about them right now. They just don't look the same at the current moment. But they could, of course, just pull a Synthetic as well and end up winning 5 rounds of their own and end up having an amazing defensive hold similar towards Synthetic. And they're going to start off just like their opponent, going in towards Hookah and Billiards. A pretty similar, if not completely same lineup. There is no mute on the side of Phantom Legion. I think it's being substituted out for Buzz on the Melusi, but can still have a big part to play regardless. It's just going to be a little bit less of a drone denial. But if there's no deep roam coming out by Phantom Legion, it shouldn't be that much of a concern. But when you see Mozzie on the board, it's almost guaranteed that is what you're running up against.
Absolutely. When you're taking a look at a match like this, you can continue to say maybe Synthetic have I guess, outplayed their luck. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's been luck for the way that they've been slapping Phantom Legion on the rear this entire time. And I don't think it's going to stop. I think that Synthetic will have maybe a round, maybe a two, and the rest of this, well, they'll probably fall behind or be a little lackluster. But I don't think this comeback is highly likely from Phantom Legion, and I'm saying that because I just said that Phantom Legion won't win the last round, and then they did, so I'm actually trying to double jinx them in this process. But Freak finds the opening pick with the R4C, does manage to find Dolly, but Buzz is immediately refragging back Freak, and that's going to be a bit of a cleanup, but Spiff is right there behind, finds the kill into Buzz. Refrag for refrag at this point in time, and a bit of a bad situation. A revive has to come through as a Phantom Legion has been downed. Your Maestro player is not available to keep into it, now sitting at 20 HP. It's going to be a little bit more of a dire straits moment. But I think Synthetic from below are just trying to continue to deal this damage, dish out some of this damage they've been doing so consistently, and they're already working their way up this cool vibe stairwell to maybe make it a little bit more punishing for Phantom Legion to try and hold out.
Spiff trying to get some type of angle via that sledgehammer. He'll hop on top of that half bar, trying to just use his stop destruction to his best ability. And Mo gets in a bit of a gunfight up above and towards Cool Vibe stairs, but Tack isn't going to be dealt any damage just yet. He'll still be able to hold that key point for the time being. Synthetic still having that man advantage now at a minute 20 on the clock, and they're just slowly creeping their way up above. This is a fantastic position. If it was a 4-on-2, it'd be even better, but that's not the story up until now. Spiff wins that gunfight in towards Cool Vibes. That can allow for the execute coming towards effect. It's only Relahada now and Giorno trying to deny it, but they have so many angles to worry about. The only thing that's keeping them alive is their utility. Giorno throws out a Toxic Babe now. A little bit of a time waster. It also deals some damage, but not enough to injure anybody, so still that 4-on-2, but they might have a fighting chance so long as they can keep denying with their utility, but they don't have enough to deny the execute overall, as now the plant is coming on out through Giorno, and perfect coverage as well. Relahada gets one, but can't get any more. Tones and Mo picking up the last 2 kills of the round. Synthetic take the 7th one, and now we're going to match point. Only a slight delay, Scott.
Only a slight delay, you know, 1 mar on the record book right now for Synthetic. Yeah, a minor inconvenience. That's like, I don't want to say a paper cut because those actually hurt. I mean, that's like tripping and just catching yourself for a moment. Like, I mean, like missing a step, but then not actually missing the step, right? I mean, at this point in time, Synthetic are looking like they're walking over Phantom Legion. That's what we're getting at here. They trip for a second, but they just immediately catch themselves, not a point to it, and that's really just off the great gameplay style. I want to point out one thing that really irked me right there. Moesi places sitting behind Pot, places, or he was actually on Cool Vibes, but then go take the shot, and they have their 0 cam, being able to watch so much utility towards Core Vibes, and Tack doesn't shoot it. Hears it go off, and doesn't shoot it. So Tack's position was known the entire time, and Mo said, okay, I'll just wait for a teammate to come here. So they waited for Spiff, and that's exactly what happened. Spiff walks over, actually gets the kill, doesn't die in the process, just take a bit of damage, but doesn't die in the process, and Synthetic are then able to walk forward, get objective, and not let anything matter. When you've got Relahada, who's just stepping forward and has already been down, sitting at 20 HP, and they're the only person that's able to clean up and get a kill towards the last moments of the round, really does not bode well for Phantom Legion. They've got to change something, and at this point in time, facing off against Synthetic, I think they've got to change nearly everything here, John. There's so much minor things that have to be reworked from their strategy against this Synthetic squad that I think this first map's kind of a wash for them. I think they need to pray up and hope this second map is their breeding ground, because this one is all Synthetic.
And at least you can kind of give them devil's advocate that Coastline is a very different map compared to what most gets played, like Coastline, for example, and Buzz trying to change something up for his team, going for that aggressive spawn peek in a last-ditch attempt to find that entry. It's gonna light up Spiff to high hell, but he's not gonna die, so still that 5-on-5. It's not that big of a concern, especially for Spiff, who has been doing a spectacular job, doing his job just fine, not just via getting those kills, but also that just soft destruction on the sledge, throwing frags, trying to burn the utility. You name it, Spiff can do it, and really anyone on the side of Synthetic has been doing a out of this world job on really anything, especially those entries, because everyone is just popping off right now. And Poison marks his 3rd kill for the match as he gets rid of Buzz from the picture. I mean, already the entry finding its way into Synthetic's hands once again. This could be over, Scott. I don't want to say that, but it's looking just like it.
Oh, now you're falling into my stupor, huh? You're actually calling it out.
Now I'm going to make the mistake.
That's
Or
amazing.
maybe
We'll
not.
see how it goes. I mean, obviously, in that situation, we see Rella in a firefight with Spiff, I believe. They both take a bit of damage in the process. Rella typically takes the most of that. Now sitting about 2 to 3 HP, dire straights, and they're going to be sitting at 0 quickly after that because Poison from this balcony side steps into a Graham and finds the kill, cleaning up where his teammate could not. And now they've got full control of Aquarium. They've got 2 players typically sitting on the one on the below floor and one sitting on Cool Vibes. Well, they have to clear out these Banshees and worry about a lot of utility dumpage that may happen to go through. At this point in time, they just got to bait out these toxic babes, and that's exactly what they do. And on top of baiting it out, Tones will step forward and find the kill onto Giorno. No more toxic babes in place. He finds a second of the 5-7 attack, and now it's just the last man standing, and Freak finds the kill. 3 flawless rounds for Synthetic in that entire map, and it did not matter. An absolute rout for them. Map 2 does not bode well. PLG have to change nearly everything if they want a chance.
Wow. 3 flawless round wins coming out, 2 of them in a row. I cannot believe the start we just saw by Synthetic. My God, there must have been a reason clearly why they were the top seat in the Rogue Conference. I mean, they're doing just perfectly. The 1 round loss, you really can't even blame them. It's not even like that to occur. What a just brilliant performance by them. Every single round, they felt like they were under control. And I mean, the only round where it didn't look like that, obviously round number 6, but they kind of lined up for Dolly and Tack to find that quick 2K, I suppose, if you really want to heckle them about it. If we see that exact same performance, this might just be a quick 2-0. But before we get to map number 2, of course, we'll go into a short little break, give these 2 teams to think about everything before they get ready for that second matchup, and we'll see you all in a little while after that.
Welcome back, everybody, to UPL here for R6. We're nearing the end of the season, but before we go even further, we got to get through this match first. And the winner of this match will be facing off against the winner of Slaughterhouse Bravo versus Lay Mickey, which is going to be another bit of a doozy here. John, I want to bring the question forward to you because this game is, after a 7-1 victory in the first one, I think we kind of have an idea who's going to win it. I would love to see Phantom Legion, like we talked about, underdog it up. I would absolutely kill for that. I love underdog stories, but they've got to change basically everything. I think they're capable of it. We'll just see how it pans out. But I want to ask and bring the question towards you for the next game that's going in on the first. Who do you think is going to win that one?
Personally, I have a really soft spot for Slaughterhouse Bravo. So I think they have a really good chance of winning. I think both of them are lined up pretty evenly on their stats, but both of them have won against the same team in their conference. So for Lay Mickey, they've won against Phantom Legion before. I believe that was 7-3 fashion. And then it was roughly the same story, 7-5 favoring Slaughterhouse Bravo against it was Synthetic on Villa, which is probably why Villa got banned, even though it was by the other team still. I'm technically right about the talking point. You can't be that mad at me. But I still think that it will be a tough matchup no matter who comes out on top when they're going up against that. But the match after this, obviously, which will happen in the first, I have strong fair Slaughterhouse Bravo. But before that happens, we got to get through the rest of the best of 3 tonight. Clubhouse, map number 2, a very different map from Coastline, but Synthetic still has that kind of playstyle that they had from the beginning, just winning all their entries, doing such a great job on that map control. Just everything they did was spot on. I don't see themselves having that much of an issue when playing on this map, especially because they're defending first. They're on the favorable side now, unlike Coastline.
Yeah, and apparently there's a bit of a history behind these two teams facing off for a TGS tournament or something like that. I mean, where we saw apparently Synthetic beat PLG on Club, and then they also beat PLG on Oregon. And this is all hearsay. This is what somebody was saying,
Wow.
and that could be incorrect. But this does not necessarily bode well for Phantom Legion, considering that Synthetic kind of have this precedence. But bans coming through. Habana, not a shocker for Clubhouse. That makes it very difficult for the attackers to actually get that kitchen hash, and allows for impact nades to do their job. Capitao is a great one to ban out if you don't want to have to worry about those asphyxiation bolts and fire bolts taking you out on a Raptor side for that CCTV and cash room hold. Mira is just a strong one because people hate Mira. That's going to change when she's actually, breakable in some fashion, but until then, she is going to be getting her just desserts. And then finally, the no-shocker ban of choice. We've already seen it before. Valkyrie. Removal of information is key in a game where information is absolutely everything. That's why we saw Zero come into play. That's why we saw it actually find utility usage. And that's also where we saw Phantom Legion refuse to shoot it out and made me kind of irked at them. But nonetheless, I think the score kind of made it up for them anyways. I mean, they're not going to shoot that out. It kind of revolves around it. But this round one, going to be pretty interesting to see how it pans out. Obviously, Synthetic on the defense. John, when we were talking about just how strong they've been on the map prior, what can we think about here as we head down into the basement objective?
Maybe a couple of flawless rounds, perhaps. We saw 3 of them on map number 1. I mean, that was really impressive by Synthetic, most certainly. But I'm not too sure, to be fair. Their setup doesn't look incredibly roam-centric, but of course you can have one guy just kind of be a nuisance above. That could be Freak, of course, Spiffy. Either two of them, that would make a ton of sense. But we're probably going to see just an extension coming out. Very anchor-favored kind of setup instead. So Phantom Legion kind of burned through themselves a little bit too much towards the end of the round, which could be a very big difficulty. And also the fact that Synthetic is bringing a couple of things for utility, just trying to deny that kitchen hatch. The Kaid, a very big giveaway as well. Just again, trying to slow down Phantom Legion from some really key points, especially when they actually try to go to the lowest part of the map itself. Kind of the feet, or suppose, or the legs of Clubhouse is the basement level.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty high possibility here for Phantom Legion to kind of struggle against this kitchen hatch. I mean, obviously we saw the Hibana ban come through, and Phantom Legion could have just left it, right? They could have left Hibana out because they obviously had second ban. They could have left Hibana in and then, used Hibana on their half and then tried to play against it in the second half and just avoided the basement, but they opted not to do so. They must have been pretty darn scared of it, but at this point in time, they've got to leverage absolutely everything they can get. If they can get a free round victory off of Hibana being in play, then absolutely abuse that and use that. But no, they're not going to, and instead we're going to see a bit of an emphasized presence towards this tunnel side. They've obviously put an exothermic charge on the wall, denying out a lot of any potential for holding it, but Synthetic got 2 players sitting inside dirt at this point in time behind one shield. Freak's a little bit further back behind the actual barricade door potential, but they're sitting pretty with 2 inside. Could be a bad position for Phantom Legion to try and push forward, but thankfully for them, they're putting a little bit more pressure towards this kitchen side as well, maybe hoping for a bit of a forked push to try and catch the Synthetic defense off guard.
I'm quite shocked that we're not seeing a Thatcher nor even a Maverick. Thatcher in particular, because for once he's actually allowed to be played on Clubhouse. That is a huge shocker. And also, because the fact that Thatcher's now allowed, he can deny a lot of the utility on the side of Synthetic. And, the big difficulty there, that Vulcan shield, that's going to allow Poison to find that entry. And Buzz gets injured as well from, I believe, up above into the vertical plane towards Kitchen. So technically a 5-on-3 until Buzz gets picked on up. This is a great start by Synthetic, and they're wasting so much time in manpower. Mo up above finishes off Buzz and even picks up one on a dolly as well. It's not looking good. Giorno tries to run through the Toxic Bay, but he's not going to have enough HP to survive. It's all up to Relihada now in the middle of Dirt Tunnel, where he just saw his friend die on out, his other hard breach duo, and this already could be the end. And Mo outside with the revolver shuts him down. Synthetic, what an explosive start. We might just see history repeat itself, Scott. I don't want to call it round number 1, but wow.
You just did call it round number 1.
We're seeing the exact same thing, though. You can't blame me.
No, I can't. Not in the slightest.
Above. He's Kaid. He shouldn't be up there. Why is he roaming? And why does he get 3 kills? I
can't disagree.
I sound like a hypocrite right now saying that, and yes, hypocrite? I said it the wrong way. Yeah, I know it's hypocrite. I want to say hypocrite because it's really funny, and we're known as the local meme lords of UPL at this point. God, it's kind of
I get a bunch of Twitter messages on my Twitter at Infernosis with a 1 at the end. That we're a funny duo commentator group here, and I always try to bring a good pace and energy here. But I tell you what's not being brought: a level of strategy behind anchoring, I guess is the term, because Synthetic on their defense, no matter what, have been wildly aggressive. We saw 2 players in tunnel, they're run out as well. They brought the Magnum out, they're doing everything. I mean, like you said, seeing a complete repeat of what we saw prior on map 1. Synthetic are out to gun, they're out for blood, and I don't know if Phantom Legion can really stop that. I mean, at this point in time, Phantom Legion, they're bullet sponges. They're anything but incorporeal. They are absolutely physical by all accounts. There's no phantom part about them, except for when they go beyond the grave, which is happening pretty darn often considering how aggressive Synthetic has been in gunning them down.
That's why it pains me, too, to just really not give any benefit to the doubt Phantom Legion because I know they're a good team, but right now they're just not showing me the Phantom Legion that I fell in love with so long ago. It's just really rough right now for them, and Freak is he's ramping up right now. He gets a pre-fire on out, but can't find anything. That spawn peak's so common, but it doesn't always work. I mean, Synthetic really testing their luck once more, but you can't blame them, man. They've only lost a single round out of, it is now 9, I believe it to be. It's just, they have just been looking completely unstoppable. I really don't blame them right now for just trying to feel themselves time in and time through. And now they're going up against an incredibly strong bomb site with not that many counters, of course, except when Garage gets opened up. So now it's going to be a little more difficult to hold in towards Rafters, but still doable, like I said, especially with the lineup at hand involving that Wamai, which is a huge counter, or at least annoyance when it comes to trying to attack Rafters.
It's an interesting decision, in my opinion at least here, to use 2 Selmas on that garage wall. And in all honesty, Phantom's not even really pushing those. They'll finally make their way onto him a minute in, despite them having them opened up for a little bit now. But they weren't really putting themselves in a position to actually act off of it. Instead, they're taking a bit of damage in the process. Tax taking damage from Rafters player. Spiffy finally takes some damage in return, but they tossed a Pokeball outside and actually did manage to tag a player out. They're now concussed. This lifeline does so much to just disorientate and catch them off guard. There's the Pokeball! I choose you, Tack! And he's gonna go out for the count. Dolly rushes around the corner, does find Freak in the process, but a player still up on top. Spiff could make this quick. He's just gotta be able to find a little bit more impact. Fully flashed, however, making it a nigh impossibility, but Dolly's now stepping up, does down them, but Tones is there to be able to contest, denying once more, but there goes Relad, finding the kill into Tones, completely refragging it back out, trades for trades, it's just Poison standing now as Buzz finds Mohesi, and it's now a 1v2 in theory, because Spiff finally finished off, Rella continuing their reign of dominance, and Synthetic may be facing their second round loss.
Plenty of time left. Phantom Legion can get this execute off now as they only have to worry about Poison, but the information is simply not there. He peeks on outward, but doesn't even fire a single bullet towards Buzz. He wins that confrontation, and Phantom Legion managed to recover right after their first round loss, evening things up 1-1 already. A much better take by Phantom Legion. A lot better indeed.
They needed that. They needed a victory. They needed to find that, and they found it early on in this map. They managed to find a level of success that they needed, and they were able to do just that. Now tied 1-1 going into round 3. We're heading back, though, to CCTV and Cash. You know my opinion. Anyone that's ever watched me basically knows my opinion because I shove it down their throats and don't let them hear anything else. I hate it when a team plays the same objective twice. It breeds complacency that doesn't belong in a game of Rainbow Six. It's too strategic based of a game to just replicate the same strategies. You have to change a lot of it to give me any warranted level of desire to play it twice. And we're seeing some variety, I guess, in terms of I guess in terms of how they're going to set up. I'll probably set it the same way, but they're going to do a little bit different in terms of the strategy we're playing. Same exact operator lineups for this defensive side. The attacking side had some slight variance. Giorno's brought out the Maverick instead of a Thermite, and that's probably just because that Thermite didn't really find very much usage in the round prior, so just bring nades instead and have 4 of them in pocket. But in all honesty, I think Phantom Legion, they're changing more than Synthetic has, and that doesn't bode well for Synthetic. I think we could see Phantom Legion manage to take their 3rd ever round in this matchup and actually take the lead.
The fact that Phantom Legion now has 2 sets of grenades, they can clear out Rafters so much more efficiently, and that was probably their biggest issue that entire time. Literally, that was it. They were winning their gunfights. Synthetic was probably a little too aggressive to begin with, but Phantom Legion, they took advantage of that. If your opponent makes more mistakes than you, then you're bound to win so long as you mark it off of those mistakes, in which Phantom Legion did quite well. They just took control of Raptors, didn't even need that platform wall opened up. A very one-sided push, and then that 2-on-1 Buzz just had the better gun for the distance, so he just removed the lone player of Smoke off the board, and now Phantom Legion, they'll try to attempt the exact same thing now, but it'll probably be, like I said, a little bit more effective and also less time-consuming, I suppose, and we might even see them try to go for that platform wall that I mentioned as well, because Jarno can Maverick trick it pretty quickly and then have either that Sledge, Zofia, or Ash remove that soft destructive part of the wall left, and that just allows for even more angles of attack to come in through Phantom Legion, which would really be a huge issue for Synthetic, because they couldn't even get rid of the Raptors control, really.
That's a very nice pick coming out here for Phantom Legion. Rilahad finds one, but immediately refragged back. They did find Mohesi, an impactful kill to say the least, but Freak is immediately able to turn it back around. So a strong position at this point in time, tied now at that 4-4, so no one team necessarily having a massive advantage over the other. And while you've lost Rilahada, at the same time, Synthetics lost Mohesi, who was that standout player in the first 4 rounds of that last map that really just gave them everything, gave Synthetic the guaranteed wins as a 4K, then a 3K, and then another 3K back-to-back. I think Phantom Legion's kind of taken the W in terms of this trade-off, and while Spiff is still sitting pretty on top of this Raptor side, a nade from Giorno will make sure Freak cannot outlast it, and on top of that removes the Vulcan shield. A great nade position. Synthetic did not have the ability to deny that. Maybe using one of those magnets over there would have been a greater potential, but nade's being tossed. Spiff jumps down to go for it, but the nade from Giorno still finds the kill. Poison finds one into Dally, but Buzz immediately refracts back. It's just Tones left in a 1v3, and like I stated, John, Phantom Legion made a difference, made a change, and Synthetic did not, and now they're facing the rear end of this Phantom side as they're walking ahead of them and beginning to stride off.
What an amazing job by Phantom Legion, improving round after round. Tones picks up one, but he's got to find 2 more. C4 comes out, it connects on a Giorno, but he can't win the fight against Buzz. He'll win the 1v1 twice in a row now, and Phantom Legion, strong as ever, all of a sudden, they'll win their 3rd round now, 2-1 going into the 4th one. Oh my goodness, just even better job of taking control of Raptors, and Tones almost won that, don't get me wrong, but Phantom Legion had it under control. Just Buzz at the end once more, just winning that one important and crucial gunfight to allow that win to come out on through. CCTV right now is just not the bomb site for Synthetic, and it only makes sense they're going to be going back to Church and Arsenal and not trying CCTV for the 3rd time in a row.
I think CCTV and Cash Room is just, like, over time as the game has progressed and Clubhouse has been played more and more, which it is. It's a T4 special. Every team plays this, right? It's becoming more and more attacker-sided. Everyone knows it. There's only a set strategy, really 1 or 2 set strategies to actually defend it. And it's I don't want to say it's easy because it's difficult, but it's pretty standard for a team to be able to counteract that. Synthetic just needed to say, okay, let's go to the tertiary objective. Let's go to Master and Gym. All right, let's just run that, Benjamin Gym, and we'll play the tertiary objective instead of playing CCTV and Cash. Because in my opinion, I genuinely think Cash and CCTV is going to become the new tertiary objective. We saw it last week, John, where we saw a team actually pick up and play Gym and Bedroom first and then go to Basement and then go to CCTV and Cash. I genuinely think CCTV and Cash is just going to fall to the wayside and not be that preferred objective with time, just because of how quickly and how exceptionally well attacking teams have been able to just say, okay, we don't want to face you here anymore because we just thrash you, and defense kind of has to adjust to it. Step out of their comfort zone, play a different strategy, because this isn't working and neither is that spawn peak. Buzz was pre-firing, that Freak still peeked it.
I mean, you do the same old trick over and over again, someone's bound to just realize it and be like, hey, I know where you're going to be. I'll just get a free kill off of you and not just do what you did, make a huge mistake off the bat. Synthetic, they are just out of their element. Apparently, they just used all their energy on map number 1, and now they're kind of just laying low for the time being. Maybe they'll come back later on, but right now, Phantom Legion is just... they're pulling a Synthetic. They're playing so much better, and on the half that they should not be doing this good on. But hey, Phantom Legion will take all the advantages they can get. They cannot lose this map, or else they're going to lose that best of 3, and then I believe be put in towards that loser's bracket, which obviously is something you never want to put yourself into. But first minute coming to an end towards that action phase, not a single refrag has come out, nor another entry by Phantom Legion, but they are attempting to at least get that kitchen hatch opened up. So great start once again, and that Selma actually doesn't get destroyed from underneath, so this hatch in towards kitchen could get opened up. Phantom Legion, again, just a phenomenal start to this 4th round.
Obviously trying to continue that one going forward. We do manage to find one, an exceptional kill from above. Rilahada finds a nice kill to Tones and sets the pace for this upcoming round. A minute and a half has been burned, and a minute and a half will remain. Spiff has to do so much to keep their team inside of this one as Poison attempts to hold this tunnel. Does take a lick of damage in the process, and You can hear a Nitro Cell on a wall as they're attempting to step in from that central staircase, but Phantom Legion don't necessarily have to worry about that. They're up. They've got the player advantage, and while Giorno is now down at literally a sliver of HP, he can just take the step back and not have to worry about this toxic bait, this, asphyxiation canister, and he doesn't have to worry about stepping into the gas. But instead, Rahada finds a second kill, now taking Poison out for the count. A 2v5 in play. Long shot from the side of Kitchen Hatch. Buzz finds Spiff, and Mohesi lines up two, but can't find any more. Buzz finds the refrag, and Phantom Legion will connect and win yet another round, taking round 4.
Again, just these really common mistakes coming out by Synthetic on the defensive side. It just only makes sense that Phantom Legion is now just winning out of nowhere. Synthetic just seems out of it almost, and they're getting kind of desperate. They're heading in towards gym and bedroom now. I don't blame them entirely. It's somewhere they haven't gone yet, so maybe that could throw Phantom Legion off guard perhaps, but it really doesn't sound like that, to be fair. Phantom Legion just finding these entries, getting the hatch opened in towards Kitchen, just doing everything right and just forcing the hand of Synthetic for what it appears to be. And they already won 3 rounds on attack. I don't think they're going to be stopping anytime soon, of course, but if they did, they'd still be in a really good position because that 4-2 split is kind of the common area. I think it'll come down more or less to the second half because Phantom Legion has already proved themselves as an assertive attacking side for Clubhouse.
You have to be very assertive on this map as well. You have to make your presence known, and Synthetic did that in round 1, but apparently not strong enough. I mean, they did it exceptionally well on the first map. I mean, they completely thrashed Phantom Legion in the first half, only giving them 1 round, and it almost felt like it was a fluke because Synthetic just kind of lined up for the kill from Dali. But ultimately, this map has really just been the resurgence of Phantom Legion. They're finally showing a bit more of an incorporeal form, and their Phantom is finally coming through as they're finding kills, not getting refragged, just connecting where they need to. We're finally seeing Rella come out and show their own, finding so much success in the last round prior. And of course, Buzz, who's now at 7-0-1, with 7 kills to their name, definitely popping off and doing what they need to do to try and help their team win this round. But some of the rest of the players from Phantom Legion, if they were showing up just as much, this would be even more of a stomp, even more like that Synthetic map 1, where we saw Synthetic have literally 4 players with 0 deaths by round 5. And instead, Phantom Legion have taken some L's across the board, but Buzz and Rella have been enough to keep themselves in this and keep themselves fighting strong.
It's been very close. We've seen those 2-on-1s, those 1-on-1s occur, but there's still one, and a win is all that matters. Maybe your stats don't look as pretty, but I think a win is the statistic you always have to worry about the most. And Tack is not going to really help out his own stats with that KDR because Freak finds that entry off the bat, a much better start by Synthetic instead of going for that spawn being instead just plays in a very crucial part of the map in towards CCTV, denying that Raptors push, and now going to have to worry about 2 separate angles as that platform wall gets opened up. I think the best move here now, Freak, is just to retreat, and he'll do just that. So he'll still be a very pivotal player in this current position, but Phantom Legion is right outside their doorway. They're going to get ready to start knocking upon both him and Tones, but they might have the gunfire to try and deny it, but Buzz, he's able to pick up 1 onto Tones. He's looking the wrong direction, but another injure comes out as well. Buzz finishes off his kill, now making things technically a 4-on-4 as Freak gets aggressive. It pays off. He shuts down Relahada. Now a 4-on-3 as Dali's still injured, technically a 4-on-2, and Mo and Freak just pop off at the end. Freak, oh my goodness, what a part did you play on that round? Finally, Synthetic sees some success other than from round number 1 as they completely dominate in the middle of CCTV.
This is why you don't play CCTV and Cash. Now, obviously, they failed their second round in basement, but that gym and bedroom site was absolutely phenomenal. Please, oh my God, Synthetic, I am begging you, do not pick. Just because you got all your kills on that CCTV hard wall does not mean that it's good enough in this next one for you to play it again. It's not happening. I genuinely feel your 2 losses on this objective were worse than your 1 loss on basement. And that's saying something because that 1 loss on basement was pretty bad. But, oh my goodness, Synthetic, I am begging you, do not keep playing the same objectives over. I'd prefer cash and stock or bar and stock over this, honestly, John. Like, I'm tired of seeing CCTV and Cash where teams refuse to stop playing it when they're getting thrashed on it.
If you're getting thrashed on it, don't go it. CCTV is still a good site.
It's got like a 30% win rate.
Honestly, though, yeah, 1 second. I do agree with you, though. Synthetic has not looked good at all in this bomb site, and they've got the strats that they need, but they're not playing it properly. Everything sounds good on paper, but then when you actually try to do it, you actually try to do your actions, it just hasn't worked out. And I mean, the aggression coming out by Synthetic has been denied pretty much time in and time through, at least for spawn peaks. When Freak just plays in a position he's supposed to, that works out. So hopefully he'll do that instead, which I believe he's going for, not immediately running in towards that back doorway, or pardon, window of Secret. So at least he will be alive for the time being. And Phantom Legion, their go-to has just been trying to get Raptors control in their hands, and they've done it pretty fast every single time, without a doubt.
I think there's a big part right now in terms of CCTV and cash where it's like, what is it, like 30 to 40% win rate for defenders? It's like, it used to be pretty substantial. It used to be like 58% defense win rate, but like it's
definitely lost its touch.
Yeah, it's lost its touch. And I'm just going to say it right now, I have casted Bar and Stock twice, and both times defenders won. So in my head, statistically speaking, Bar and Stock is the go-to defender objective, better than any other objective in the game, because every single time I've seen it, defense has won. So in my head, where everything makes sense, everything culminates together to make a modge-podge sort of words, and hopefully my vocabulary sticks to it. But, I mean, Bar and Stock is the best objective in R6. Do not quote me, please. Do not quote me. I beg of you, do not go onto... Stop typing in Twitter.
Man, I mean, all you get is love, but you need a little bit of hate towards Twitter. I'm only kidding. I would never say that about you. That is way too mean, especially when I'm talking towards you. But Phantom Legion, again, kind of doing what they were doing beforehand, but instead of getting that Raptors control, they're going to opt for construction, which doesn't work out because Mo finds that entry on attack. Buzz is there. He could try to find a refrag, but he's a little late to the party, which will cause still that man advantage to favor Synthetic and allow Mo to just find a second. What a beautiful shot on a Dally. Bye-bye your other secondary soft destructor there. It's already not looking that good, and a nice shot indeed that was Dally. At least he's able to have some sportsmanship about that annihilation he was just dealt to by Mo. And finally, things looking great on CCTV for Synthetic. It only makes sense that the one time that Phantom Legion just didn't go into Raptors, they end up losing to the hands of Synthetic for the time being, of course.
It's a bit difficult right now for Phantom Legion to kind of make this comeback with the fact that Moesi's popped off and now Tones finds Buzz. It's just Yona who's sitting at 20 HP, probably about 18, 19, hard to tell at this point. And then, of course, Relahada, who's now the only one left standing because Mohesi's able to clean up for a third. They're tossing the Selmas out. Relahada's hoping to maybe get a sight line, as they do know that Mohesi has dropped and is probably flanking them from behind, so they'll have to be a little bit wary of that push. But they're trying to get some shots off, finally turning back around, maybe contesting towards Logi, maybe hoping for a player to rotate, and that's exactly what happened. The flawless victory, the fourth one for Synthetic, has been denied. And really, Rella is actually able to get yet another, this one into Mohesi, denying them any chance of picking up yet another. But Tones is there with the pistol. I think that's their 5th or 6th pistol kill in this matchup today. They are popping off with the sidearms, the Gats doing exactly what they need to. Synthetic are able to tie it up 3-3 at half, despite what looked like a very lackluster performance from them.
Like I said earlier, Phantom Legion just didn't do what was working for them on that round. They instead kind of went for construction, which didn't bode well for them because Mo found the entry on attack, who could have been really influential, burning through a lot of utility in towards cash, which could have maybe allowed for a plant perhaps, or just a general push into that direction and finding some type of kills. It just, nothing really worked out well for Phantom Legion on that round, but I still feel like they've had a much stronger presence than Synthetic. I mean, winning 3 attacking rounds on a defender side of map like Clubhouse is no small feat, even though a lot of them were on the bomb side that hasn't been the best for defenders as of recent, but now they have a chance to just do an even better job on the defending side, and that shouldn't be as much of a difficulty. They'll try for Church and Arsenal first and foremost, similar to what Synthetic did, but a slightly different lineup. The double denial of both Wamai and Jaeger, that can greatly help out Giorno as he most likely pushes up in towards Dirt Tunnel. Even having some Malusi Banshees perhaps as well, it's going to be a really big challenge to get control of Dirt Tunnel on the side of Synthetic if that's what you want to opt for.
You have to be very wary right, for an attacker-sided map and a defensive-sided map. Obviously, Coastline is considered an attacker-sided map, but yet we saw Synthetic completely sweep on defense, right? We saw them only lose one and then just continue to their dominant reign on the attack. So on this one, which is typically considered a defensive-sided map because it is a normalized R6 map and they're consistently defender-sided because of the advantages that defenders do have. So I think Synthetic can kind of show that same level of success. They are undefeated right now when it comes to their attack, and while they haven't had very many, we can say that statistic because it's true as of this moment, but probably won't be true by the end of this match. So we'll have to see how it pans out. Obviously, Player Freak is coming in from this Jacuzzi side, clearing out this Jacuzzi wall, hoping to maybe step in from the west and clear out the second floor. Drones from their teammates to maybe assist as we see Claymore being dropped over by Oil Pit to maybe stop a player on the rotate. But Synthetic have gained full control of second floor to my knowledge and are looking to gain control of first, but I think Phantom Legion have completely given up on this first floor and are looking more to just turtling up on the basement, which is not a bad strategy, especially when you bring a Maestro into play and have that long-range Alda to work with, but they're not putting the Alda where I thought. They're putting Alda in church, and instead they're putting the MP5K in the hands of your my player of Dolly behind short boxes. So it's an interesting decision for Phantom Legion. We'll have to see how it pans out for them.
Well, a minute 45 left, and because of the anchor strap by Phantom Legion, no one's died yet. Freak gonna get a little bit aggressive. He'll already rush on down in towards Moto as that hatch gets fully opened up by Mo. Nice little sight line if you want to peek in towards that Moto doorway. And Freak tries to find some pop shots, doesn't connect just yet, but he'll definitely startle some players on the side of Phantom Legion because now, at least the player inside of Electrical, they're gonna have to worry about two separate angles as that secret push is coming out into effect as well. So a lot of different food on the plates of Phantom Legion right now. That exothermic charge getting ready to detonate as well. Things are just starting to crumble up in towards Phantom Legion's face, and they don't really know how to push it away right now. Spiff as well, finding that entry. A minute left on the clock, and this is just not looking all that bad for Synthetic whatsoever. Most likely they can go for this church-sided push because in the back of Arsenal, it seems kind of hopeless for the most part. Freak does get one, though, on Dally. A 5-on-3 now, and they're right outside. They're getting ready to push on through, but Rele Hada has something to say about it. He finds one, tries to go for another. He'll do just that. Mo off the board now, evening things up 3-3. Tones gets lit up, not finished off, though. Tak wins this gunfight, and Rele Hada picks up another one. He'll still be alive, and he clutches the round of 4K for Rele Hada, denying Tones the pistol 3K. My God, when it mattered most, he stepped up and guaranteed Phantom Legion their 4th round win.
What an absolute performance from Phantom Legion right there. Things were looking a little dire as you see Tones popping off with the GAT. Like I said, that's probably their 11th, maybe even 35th pistol kill in this matchup. I mean, it's impossible to count at this point in time. I think they've done more kills or more damage with their pistol than they've done with their main primary weapon. I'm starting to think that maybe Synthetic should just switch their secondaries. Maybe they should just go ahead and bring it out. Now, I know a lot of the SMG secondaries are getting buffed, like the Bearing 9 and the SMG 12, so maybe not bring those out just yet because that hasn't come through. But nonetheless, Tones has been able to pop off exceptionally so, and barely saved is this Phantom Legion squad by Rele Hada, who's just able to clean up what the other teammates on their squad could not. And I'm thinking right now, this CCTV and cash room side, my least favorite objective on this map because of just how reliant defensive teams tend to be on playing it. I think Synthetic have a good chance here, though, just considering how aggressive they were in that last round towards the end. I think they have what it takes to step in, clear where they need to, get rid of Raptor's control. I don't see anything on the defensive side you necessarily have to worry about. I say it's Dolly with the MP5 and having to worry about that Raptor's control like Synthetic was replicating as well on their defensive half. So I think Phantom Legion have their work cut out for them. 2 ADSs and magnets on this Raptors, but I'm seeing a lot of nades that Synthetic can burn through, and these smoke canisters. There's a lot that Synthetic can burn through to make sure they can get in and actually remove Dolly from up top.
They would have to wholeheartedly commit, though. They couldn't backpedal. They couldn't just be like, you know what, let's just go construction instead. It's kind of a now or never kind of thing. If they want to go construction now, which I think they're getting ready to, is they're going to start that roam clear in towards Jacuzzi wall instead. And Already Freak's right outside the 2-set window in towards both the bomb side of CCTV and also construction room. It would be a lot of utility wasted in order to get Raptors control, so they'd have to pay a very high price, but it would be a very fruitful bounty. And Buzz tries to find the fruit via a headshot on that run out, doesn't get anything just yet, and now gets droned out in towards main stairwell, and he's now kind of at a loss. He either goes for the retreat, which he'll in fact do, or at least he baits it out. That sound cue could actually be massive, because if Synthetic not droning out Buzz up above, they could just walk right on into him from weight room or just ignore it completely, and that could be devastating and could guarantee Phantom Legion a huge start, especially now because they're focusing on Taku's inside of bedroom instead.
Difficult position to be in. Obviously, the Jacuzzi side has been opened up, and Spiffy's looking to maybe get some shots towards the opposing direction. Nothing really connecting, as it doesn't seem to be too many players from Phantom Legion are really sitting over there. Taka sitting in bathroom. Buzz is down below towards that stripper side, but Freak does find the first kill into Giorno. A setup right now, and they have a 5v4 advantage, and Poison makes it a 5v3. Freak finds a second to Dolly as they attempted to step back from Rafters, and it might be a flawless. No, denied! Spiff may have found Tak, but Buzz finds Mohesi, and Spiff will take the second into Buzz. Synthetic, like I called, in a very swift and aggressive playstyle, managed to make the resurgence and come back, clap back, and bring it back to a tied 4v4.
Yeah, I'll let you have that one, Scott. I guess you can be right sometimes.
I'm a genius.
Yeah.
I have a big brain.
You did just say a little while ago that bar and stock is a better site than CCTV. You know what? You might be onto something, because we haven't seen like any. I literally just heard like nothing. I don't know if your mic cut out or you were just you were protecting everyone from your non-Christian words. Eric.
No, I just screamed it is.
I thought so. I saw your camera in OBS and I'm like, oh wow, he's really riled up. Okay, you're welcome.
I'm telling you, statistically speaking, from all the games I've casted in my experience of casting, which is not very long in all accounts, in my experience of casting, I have seen it twice, and the Finns have won it both times. Now, one of them was a pistols-only run-out game where they danced and spun and then shot each other with pistols, and then the other one was they accidentally clicked it, and they had no idea what to do, so they just shot people, right? But, statistically speaking, 100% of the time it works 100% of the time.
I mean, Phantom Legion have won that bomb site twice on attack, only losing it once, a 2-to-1 ratio. That's pretty good, especially on Clubhouse. And then they didn't win it that time on the defensive side. It's really feeding into your crazy conspiracy theory that bar and stock, a site that is almost never played, is better than CCTV. It's like a household name of Clubhouse, but I hate to say it, man, but you might be on to something. Anyways,
I'm a genius.
I guess so. I was trying to come up with a funny pun, but it just kind of lost my head. But yeah, I guess you are the genius. You were just a very smart boy. Your head is filled with so many wrinkles. There is not a single smooth bit on it. Yeah, sounds disgusting, but it's a compliment.
Yeah, I am the filet mignon of steaks out here. No smoothness, just pure wrinkles and muscle. I think that's correct. I don't actually know my meat cuts that well.
That might be a little bit wrong, I guess.
No, it's not. No, I am.
Filet mignon is really good though. So I get what you're trying to say.
I am cow tongue. I don't know I am the.
You are the gooderest.
I'm the ground beef of meat in my head. Where it's like ground and so it's all wrinkly. That works, right? I mean, that's wrinkled.
Good point. I like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Maybe
we're
one day
along
you
today
can,
quite
you
well.
can be. What? Who is?
We are.
Oh yeah, I did make fun of you the other day for something. I can't remember what it was, but it was something. Oh wow, I'm actually genuinely shocked. Freak did not just get felled by that frost map. In all honesty, long shot angle. Spiff actually downs Rella and gets Giorno in the process. An amazing set of shots as they connect to the first. A nade tossed. This is absolutely gonna kill. Oh, it doesn't, narrowly avoids, and that's gonna be just slowly as Relahan is just forced to stay there and dies. They're bleeding out onto the ground. A 5v3 in function. There's one player sitting by red. Spiff is just gonna clean up the kill. Get it indeed with the nade. The toss in the sink comes through. Kobe, Synthetic now have a 5v3.
Impact trick does in fact work, but that E1D will spot out Buzz, but no one's able to mark it off it. Dally gets rid of Freak. No more Lion scans come out, and no one's inside of Raptors anymore. Tone gets a nice shot, but the favor is returned on by Tak. 3-on-2 now, as both Tak and Buzz are in the middle of red. They got to transition, though. They can't be both watching the same angle at the same time, and Tak will try to do just that. Pre-fire comes out through CCTV window, but can't find anyone as well. No one's peeking him at the current moment, but he's expecting something to happen. You could try for a run out perhaps. It'd be risky, but it could pay off perfectly for him as the drone work's coming out. There's not that great of coverage for the time being, but time is still favoring Phantom Legion. They'll play a little bit more passively, anticipating really anything to happen, but as long as they have time on their side, they could make it work out. Sloppy this by Mo comes out. Tak with a great 3K for the round. 1 versus 1 comes out, and Buzz does not lose those with the MP5 at hand. Gets rid of Poison. Bye-bye indeed, and another round win will not come out by Synthetic. The favor, in fact, returned by Phantom Legion as they reclaim that advantage 5-4 now.
It is a literal, and I cannot state this enough, blink and you will miss it round, where Synthetic was leading handily in a 5v3 at a point in time, and then returned as Phantom Legion surmount the comeback and find success. And look at this scoreboard right here. They've got 2 players with double digits on Phantom, and the rest are lagging so far behind, 11 and 10 for Rella and Buzz. But Dolly, Tak, and Giorno all combined only have 9 kills total. This is a very strange situation. We have the side of Synthetic is statistically more average across the board. They are more consistent across the team. And you know that I like to say the more consistent team is usually the team that manages to win it out. But we're seeing a bit of a weird flux here, an outlier, so to say, as Phantom Legion have managed to have Buzz and Rella just take it away here and actually manage to find themselves wins and take the lead. We'll 1 away for match point. Phantom Legion and Synthetic are heading down to this dreaded basement hold, where despite Tones' attempts with some great pistol shots, Rella denied it all and gave Phantom Legion the victory.
It's a really tricky bomb site to attack. No matter what you do to defend it, you can do these crazy extensions all the way on the top 2nd floor and then just start working your way back into the site and wasting so much time. But you can also do a very conservative play of what Phantom Legion is doing, very passive. They're going to just play all the way in that lower level and just be a very big just hurdle. A single hurdle, might I add, but a very difficult one to kind of just leap right on over. So Synthetic, towards that last minute of the round, they're going to be incredibly desperate. They're going to just try to just go tooth and nail up against Phantom Legion. That's where they'll really shine, especially, I believe, was Relly Hada. He found that 4K. I almost messed up his name, which is why I stuttered there, but he did so much for his team, that 4K with the Alda. I mean, it's a force to be reckoned with, Scott, and I think that's one of the many reasons why we love Maestro so much. He's a one-man army. That's the best way to put it. He is just a very mobile, thick Italian tank that you should honestly try to get on your team as much as physically possible, because he's too much to deal with.
Absolutely, and when you've got a player who can wield the Alda with such success like we are seeing right now, then you've got to abuse it. Like I said earlier, it probably would have been a smart idea for Phantom Legion to actually bring the Hibana in and actually use that and abuse it while they could. But I think Synthetic, I'm going to turn it around. I think it was a good choice, because Synthetic really haven't had very much success with their hard breaches and have kind of just been toiling around with it and haven't really, I guess, done what they necessarily would want to do initially. And so it's an interesting position they're in, where they kind of have to rely on this blowtorch up above. They finally clear out Mimo's breach and can actually step inward, even though they already had a player inside. But Tak is watching these bullet holes. Enjoy it while you can, Tak, because they're not going to be here for much longer. And now a position where they've got themselves up above. They've got sightlines in the hallway. They've got a couple sightlines maybe into the doorway of Church to maybe catch a player off guard. But this blue side, utility bunker, they've got to clear that. They've got to clear Church, which they do just now. Freak manages to find Relata, but at this point in time, it's still a 5v4, and Tak is sitting pretty in utility, now facing off against Tones and the opposing player deep inside.
Dally does get a refrag on her Freak. That aggressive Ash player will finally be off and done for. Things even on up, but Tones from behind gets one from Secret Stairwell. Now, no one's sitting in the back of utility. They can go for that church-sided take, but right now it's going to be Arsenal. It still works out, though. Dally will get a refrag eventually, but Mo did pick off Buzz, so the man advantage still in the favor of Synthetic. They'll go for that plant now. They're in complete control as Spiff gets Jorno as well. It's just up to Dally having to ace this round for his team. He'll get a third for himself, but can't get any more. Poison's there with the trade. It'll do the trick. And again, this constant game of tug of war, the exact opposite of what we saw on Clothesline, will prolong the inevitable of this matchup right now. 5-5 now. No one in match point, but eventually that will occur. There is no more prolonging after this round.
Do we have a game on our hands here, John? Do we have a game?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what would give that away. I mean,
map one, really, we did, like, by all accounts, was not a game.
That was a game. That was definitely a game. I'm gonna be honest. That was a game.
It was a game in a completely different approach than this one is, right? You say that was a game, and this one, this is a game, right? It's like the way you say it, the way you phrase it. Completely different. 100% totally different. But we're going to be seeing the tertiary objective choice of Master Bedroom and this gym site. Finally, we'll see Phantom Legion opt to step over here. Maybe not liking what Synthetic was bringing to the table prior, because they barely eked out a victory, or so they say eked out a victory on that last CCTV hold. They can't step back to it anyways, but I mean, I probably wouldn't even want to go back to it at this point in time. That one has just been so treacherous for both sides. It's interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what Phantom Legion are going to do in terms of holding out on this eastern side towards, Cash and actually defending that CCTV hard wall, as teams typically do. But I think Synthetic, with the way that they know how to defend it, how exceptionally well they did defend it when they did this prior, they'll know how to attack it as well. So it's a split up in the air. You toss the coin, it's gonna flip, it's gonna land on one side. John, what's your prediction?
It's so evened up right now. It either comes down to if Phantom Legion can just hold their own at the end, or if we just see even more explosions coming out by Synthetic on their intakes. I mean, Freak from the beginning, he removed such a necessary player. He got rid of Maestro inside a church, and that was really Hada, the guy who found a 4K and clutched the round in a 1v1 against Tones. I mean, he did so much that round, and then he wasn't able to do anything except just give comms to his best ability, but there weren't that many cams to do that except his own evil eyes. So as long as Synthetic just eliminates someone like Buzz, for example, or even Dolly as well, that are both right outside of CCTV and in towards Cash and Construction, this could be a great game changer for them, allowing them to finally put themselves in the front seat of the car, bring us to match point where they could in fact win the entire best of 3 just by winning simply 2 more round wins in a row. But obviously that's going to be a huge challenge right now, as they still haven't even burned through the utility of Cash Room, let alone the players inside of that room.
Yeah, they can technically go below, go down to this, stock room like we see Freak is right now, but you can sit on top of these tables, sit on top of these desks inside of Cash, and make it now impossible for an attacker from below to even contest. Buzz just rushes into CCTV and catches Tones and Moetzi off guard. Back-to-back frags, completely a complete lack of information being sent around from Synthetic. They did not give the proper callouts, despite them having such a great set of information. But Buzz, he's going over and beyond, to infinity and beyond. Buzz Lightyear out here, and now they're only 2 away from a possible ace potential. 3K to their name, and it looks like Buzz is still getting greedy for it, making a little bit of a run out. Does get their position to be known, but now Poison's rotating back around through Garage. Does not like what they're saying and is going to rotate over, but Buzz is right here. No, please, by God, no, it's stolen. No, it's still a 4K, and Phantom will find a flawless round. They're first to Synthetic's 4.
Buzz just getting away with everything he tries on that round. He walked into CCTV and picked up 2. Like, are you kidding me right now, Buzz? Phantom Legion don't want to end their storyline here. They want to go to a third map, and my God, Scott, they have most certainly earned at least that round in particular. And oh my God, Buzz just doing everything he could, and that was more than enough to win that. A flawless round finally for Phantom Legion. Not like what we've seen from Synthetic so far, and oh my God, it just, wow. 1 word, 3 letters, wow.
Wow. 1 word, 3 letters, PLG.
Wow. Synthetic, though,
Wow.
have still been quite close. It is 5-6. One more round, we could go to overtime. And oh my God, that brings me to another talking point. Overtime is infinite. So we could be here for a long time. And Synthetic just puts on their big boy pants and just starts running right into Phantom Legion again, because it worked for them the last time they attacked this bomb site, especially with Freak on that aggressive pick on Rally Hada. The only issue is, though, he's probably not going to be playing in the exact same position. He's opted for the Kaid now, so that might force him to play in towards perhaps just Arsenal instead. Maybe somebody else will be changing that position, or Tack will just really try to focus on Moto rather than trying to get both Secret and also Moto, or not. Maybe Rally Hada will just sit in the exact same spot, just with a different operator this time, which kind of caught me off guard. You got me there, Rally Hada. You got me there.
I think there could be a pretty good amount of success to be had with that. I mean, obviously, Mohesi, who is playing exceptionally well, he really likes the Kaid, kind of favors the Kaid as well, so it's interesting to see. I mean, Synthetic, this is a make it or break it. They get in it all here if they can just get into the match point and find their own and then bring it to overtime, right? They can bring it to the overtime and win it out and not bring us to a map 3, but I don't think PLG is going to let that happen. I think they're going to kind of hunt for it. They want to be in this and they want to show that they belong and kind of be that underdog we were talking about, and they definitely are being that, considering they're up ahead, have been consistently up ahead, and Synthetic's kind of having to, I guess, return it round for round so consistently like it has been. But this basement has not been kind to Phantom Legion, now has it? They've won one, and then now they've lost one, and it was a pretty big loss as well. Synthetic kind of just stepped in and found their kills and just kind of won their gunfights in those 1v1s. And they're continuing to do so now. Tone's in the same position as Secret, maybe hoping to catch one player of utility off guard. Spiffy's up above with that sledgehammer once again, trying to catch some utility in that downstairs basement hall, and also being able to clear out these hatches above Mimo and possibly above the kitchen one as well. Synthetic are just finding success, but it'll be the side of Phantom Legion who finds the first kill. Buzz will take Spiffy out for the count. You lose those nades, but at the same time, you did get the job done of clearing out that basement hall floor.
That's one way to put it, I guess. Synthetic, though, they need to exceed the standards right now when it comes to attacking this bomb site in towards Church, and right now they haven't done that. They didn't get the entry, they lost it. Spiffy can no longer do his job on that self-destruction, and the grenades that he may or may not have had in his back pocket are just gone. They're completely just erased from the picture now, and it's going to be up to mostly Mojao to try to burn out any utility via those grenades, or maybe trying to find a kill on someone who's sitting in that triple wall area like Rally Hada is currently, and Dolly not too far behind him as well. But minute left on the clock, a last-ditch push comes out by Synthetic and towards Moto for the most part, and also trying to get some sight lines gathered perhaps in towards Church. Maybe that Maverick trick can in fact come into effect, but there won't be much time left. Raleigh Hadra trades technically with Mo, but he can get revived now, and Tones gets one on attack as well. Bye-bye, Tack, and 4-on-3 now. All of a sudden, Synthetic in a much better position now, having that man advantage and complete control of the bomb site. Freak gets one on a Buzz, shuts him down with a headshot. Dolly will get a trade, but they're still down by one player. Tones with a 2K now. He gets rid of Dolly from the picture. Giorno now having to clutch if he wants his team to win this and deny infinite overtime. It'll be a challenge, though. Plant coming down. He denies it with the smoke babe. That'll prolong the inevitable. He throws a second one now. Poison on incredibly low HP. Down goes Tones. He needs to pick up another one, though. He'll, in fact, get it. Beautiful shot, but Poison get the plant down. It's now a 1v1, but Giorno in a pretty decent position. He can just play time. It's not looking all that good for Giorno. He has to push towards him, inevitably playing the attacker, but he expects the read, but he doesn't hit a single shot. Poison wins it. He brings us to overtime. A valiant effort by Giorno, but it'll be thwarted by a support player, a Thermite. Oh my God, Scott, we're going the extra mile on Clubhouse.
We're going all the way in overtime here, John. The long mile all the way through. And this one is going to be either a pretty big loss here for Phantom Legion despite all of their attempts, or it's going to be an absolute slugfest where Phantom Legion bring us into map 3 and they can really show us full contestation about where they truly belong, and they're trying to make their case clear. Synthetic have been fighting this one tooth and nail, trying to make this comeback, and we're heading right back down to this basement site. PLG, have you not learned from the same mistakes Synthetic brought to the table of playing CCTV so many times in a row and losing basically every single one of them? Stop heading to this basement site, head elsewhere, just find something else. You have not been playing this one to your liking, and they have just walked through, found those frags, and those 50-50 gunfights have turned into a 70-30. Synthetic have been winning those, and despite the valid attempts we saw there right at the end for Giorno to try and make that comeback, it was not enough. Could not bring their scoreline from a 3-9 to a 6-9, and instead made it to a 5-10.
It's been so heartbreaking for Phantom Legion because they've gotten close on most of these rounds for the Church defensive hold. Other than, of course, the second time they went here, that had to be an ace clutch coming out by Wamai. It just, by Dolly, I believe it'll be. It just, that one was kind of a given. Okay, we dropped the ball on this defensive hold, but they had it from the get-go on the last time they went here. They found that entry on a very important player of Spiff, who was their main soft destructor on the attacking side of Synthetic, and then they kind of kept that man advantage for a little while, but then lost it out of nowhere. And then the clutch almost came out by Giorno, but it wasn't had. It was a 1v1 simply lost again. I don't entirely blame Phantom Legion for trying to go here again, but when you've had such a strong presence on a site like Gym and Bedroom, why not pick that over Church? I mean, this would be a bomb site I would want to go to last. If you've won your first defensive round, then lost your attacking round perhaps, or vice versa. If you win your attacking round, but you lost the round before that, then I would maybe go to Church. But already, it's proving to be a huge just slap in the face because TAC is already off the board right now, and Synthetic have a great lead with the first minute barely coming to an end.
You can be thankful if you are Phantom Legion. TAC hasn't been the most influential, not to be down on them, but it is a place and go operator. They can kind of go with that, but I'll tell you what, right as we're talking about influential, Buzz is dead. Just felled on the central stairs. No chance that one's going to survive. And now Tones is fighting out the opposing player. I believe Dolly towards utility. They're having to take a step backwards as they now try to fight central stairs, as they have already stepped downwards. Freak is getting some connection. Spiffy finds Giorno from above. Now it's just Rella and Dolly and the last two standing. Synthetic are looking to make their presence known once again, and they'll find Dolly. It's just Rella, and this could be a flawless round, but denied as Freak is fell, but Mohesi from behind. Synthetic take round 13, a 4-player left standing rout, and we're gonna have to see if they can replicate that same success on their defensive turn.
Synthetic just simply woke up that round, only losing one player, and it didn't even matter. The damage had already been done. Oh my god, Synthetic really proving a point that Phantom Legion should not be going that basement bomb site because they're not going to win it against Synthetic. And now they're on the defensive side. They're going to go Gym and Bedroom, which we did see them go once, and they did in fact reign victorious that time when defending it, not so much attacking it. They kind of just got demolished by Phantom Legion, but that doesn't matter because they're on the opposite side of that. This could be over. We were speaking so highly of Phantom Legion because they brought things so close, a complete just 180 turn from what we saw on Coastline, but now it could just take one more round loss and there will be no map number 3. They'll just, all their hard work just thrown down, just put in the fire and just burnt to high hell. That could be a huge devastating blow for Phantom Legion, especially because they've had just such a amazing performance on this map.
Just make and drill the point home here. It is infinite overtime. This is an infinite overtime situation here for this playoff season. There's a high-end bracket here for UPL, and where it's going to be very difficult to see whether or not Phantom Legion can kind of make that resurgence. They've got to take 3 rounds back-to-back now, right? If my math is correct,
yeah.
I may be a little stupid. They've got to make a huge comeback. That is a huge gap to fill.
Victory.
Yeah, it is a huge gap to fill. Losing that first one in a normal, I guess, overtime situation without infinite OT and R6, you go, okay, it's just 2 rounds. It's fine. Just win the next 2 rounds. It's completely different when it's infinite overtime. You've got to win and go above and beyond. You've got to win 2 back-to-back to guarantee any level success. 2 back-to-back above your opponent. So now they've got to win that 3, and Synthetic just have to win this one. They can just finish this one off here, and we're heading to this gym site where we actually saw Synthetic get clapped by Buzz prior as they had managed to find a 4K, and the ace was being denied as well. The Hada stole it, but nonetheless, Synthetic are going to have some very fresh wounds they have to worry about.
And already, more pressure being applied to that wound, which is sometimes something you want to do, but when you have a lemon in your hand holding down that leg, maybe not so much. That's going to be really painful. And oh, freak! What a shot indeed on attack. Already starting off just as strong as they did on the attacking side. The entry already favoring Synthetic right now. The back area of Cash hasn't been cleared out, nor red stairwell. I don't want to repeat myself, but again, this could be over in a matter of moments if we just see one more impactful play come out for Synthetic. Phantom Legion could already be done for, and that long shot by Tones could simply do it. They just cannot remove this extension right now. It's a minute 40 left. You already have 2 players dead. Make it 3 as Tone picks up another one. He's looking for a third on the round, and he gets it! Relihana off the board as well. It's all up to Giorno now, having to ace, and he might not be able to do it. He throws a grenade out. He picks up one on a freak, but he's got to find 4 more. A minute 20 left. He's got plenty of time, but the resources are just not there.
The run out for Moesi will finish things off in a very spectacular fashion as Synthetic, despite all of the valid attempts in this map, specified this map from Phantom Legion, it ultimately did not matter. And Synthetic were able to take the W and send this team packing home. Phantom Legion, they could not make it out, and unfortunately, they will be a ghost of their prior selves as they are now out for the count, with Synthetic taking a massive W. 7-1, map 1. And what was that? 8-6,
Yep,
right?
8-6.
Because it was just a straight 2-0. 8-6, map 2 on Clubhouse.
No infinite overtime. I was hoping we could share that first experience together. Or maybe it's not your first.
It's not my first.
It was. All right. Well, I mean, I was kind of hoping for it. Infinite overtime is always something interesting. Every time I think of infinite overtime, it always brings me back to Coastline, the match where it was G2 versus Empire, and it was just 23, 22 rounds, something like that. My God, that game took forever. And it was on my favorite map of Coastline, too. I mean, it really just was. It's everything you could ever ask for as a viewer of Rainbow Six. But we're not going to get that experience. I wouldn't call it a luxury, especially if you don't want to just kill your throat, especially if Phantom Legion won that via the infinite overtime. But that's not going to happen, of course. Congrats again to Synthetic for winning that game, 2-0. Amazing work. Not as strong as your first matchup, but I mean, hey, you still won. A win is a win after all, and I think that'll be it for us. I don't believe we have any interviews going in for playoffs. Yeah, we in fact are. I got the A-OK. Thank you.
We do, in
So,
fact, get to see that Synthetic will face the winner of the Lame Mickey and Slaughterhouse Bravo game. So stay tuned for that. I believe it is the 1st, June 1st.
It is, yeah.
It is June 1st that is taking place next Tuesday. If you want to just know the date, mark it down. It is going to be an absolutely great slugfest for that one. I mean, 2 top teams that are going to really be trying their all. And then they're going to have to face another top team, Synthetic, who has just had a spectacular season, is continuing to do so in every league that they're in, and has just had such a massive boon to them this season. Congrats to them as always. My name is Infernosis, joined here by Fellow. Stay tuned for the next week for even more UPL action. We'll see you guys in the next one.